Hey guys, what's up? This is the first time that you hear my voice actually. My name is Leo. I am the one who runs the channel. If you're subscribed, you probably saw my first, I would say 10 to 12 videos that we did. They were all ASMR videos, so I never really included my voice or anything. But for this video, I wanted to start kind of on a different topic than usual, and following the purpose of the channel. This channel was built and provided by my own studio, Aincrad Tech, and basically the main goal of the channel is to diffuse knowledge about web development and technologies, and yeah, how you can start your own career, and what we think are the most let's say used technologies at the moment in the market, at least for 2023. And yeah, so this first video wanted to be about small HTML tutorials. So you probably saw a lot of HTML on this channel. Basically what we do is ASMR videos with a lot of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So yeah, as a first topic, and I think also as a good starter in the web development world, HTML is just the right topic where to start. It's basically the fundamentals of everything that you see online in your browser. And yeah, so let's get started, guys. So for this video, I wanted to basically touch the very basics of HTML. If you don't know for what HTML stands for, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. I have this valid resources from W3 School. They are a great provider for small snippets, and also to what HTML is. As I told you, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is a standard markup language for creating web pages in the web. It describes the structure of the web pages. So if you take a small simple HTML file, you can see it pretty much defines the structure of a web page. But we have some more complicated tasks. We'll dive into that a little bit later in the video. But yeah, these guys, I recommend checking them out. They do provide a lot of resources, and they really start from scratch. So the video was to just get to actually run the code, and whatever you need to do this is very, very simple. You need your own browser, the one from what you're watching this video. If you're not on phone, most likely is okay. I use Safari. Sometimes I will use Chrome, but yep. And as a text editor, you can see, if you're already subscribed to the channel, you can see that we are always use Visual Studio Code. That is a very, very good tool. And yeah, I recommend, those are the basically two instruments that you need to get through this tutorial, and you don't need any previous knowledge. Now, it's very good to know, I would say, the story of HTML that can be summarized here. But yeah, that is for the theory. I will link this page right here in the description of the video, so you will be able to find the link. And yeah, just I would say go through just to know HTML, but that is not that important. I would say what is most important is to understand what HTML actually does. HTML is basically, as I explained to you guys, a language that allows you to define web pages from a front-end UI. What this means that we're actually going to build user interfaces in the web thanks to just HTML as a technology itself. Now, you can argue the result may be a little bit basic, a little bit bare, but we'll work towards that. We'll work towards making this result a little bit better, and we're going to start opening up a simple project in VS Code. Let me just go through here. Let me just actually start a folders about this tutorial, right? So this is going to be a simple, I will call it HTML. Let's say tutorial. And yeah, what you need to do is very, very simple. You can open your empty folder from sorry, my VS Code is in Italian, by the way. I'm from Italy, but yeah, I will convert this to English later on in the video if you like this format. But yeah, absolutely. So what you need to, you should need to just create it and open up an empty folder. It can be whatever you want to call it, just an empty folder. And as a starting point, we need just one file to create. Is going to be index.html. Index is a common name you will see many of the times. It just stands for the main file in that specific folder. not to go too deep, but yeah. So one thing I'm gonna do just for the purpose, I'm gonna turn off my GitHub Copilot for this video right here, because yeah, we want to go with our bare ends basically. So what we would like to see is, first and foremost, if you're using a tool like VS Code, you most likely have a lot of suggestions just by typing in HTML, like HTML5, HTML, XML. What these commands do is just basically provide a simple structure. Now, I wouldn't recommend study by memory all of these tags, but it's good to know what they do. Like basically, as you can see, the format of an HTML file resembles the one of XML. If you don't know what that is, I recommend checking that out as well. But it's just a language, let's say, to define structured document based on some tags. As you can see, are the formats of everything that you see in this file is brackets. I'm not sure how to pronounce this in English, but yeah, this brackets, parentheses, name of the tag. So in this case, tag name is HTML. A little bit of attributes. There are a lot of attributes actually, and we will go through some of them. But yeah, attributes, and then closing that bracket. Sometimes bracket can be left open with some other content within the bracket that you can see in this add to a tag is basically full of content. We're going to see what that is, but basically, yeah, you can either have open, I would like to call it open tags, or closed tags. For the open tags, you can just leave it as are. You just open and close the bracket. For the close tag, you're obligated to close it somehow. You can close it like this. If you don't have content, you can also close it like this by not having anything in between. This is a valid HTML page, by the way, so we can just go ahead and open it up. Let me see, guys. But yeah, basically you can go into Finder. Finder should be able to open it up with your VS Code. Yeah, very good. There it goes. Now, as you can see, it's empty. That is what we expected, of course. What can we see? These meta tags, they are totally not important for our tutorial right here. These are more advanced stuff, and as you can see by the meta word, they define metadata about the web page. They are not relevant for this tutorial. I like to keep it very, very simple. I would just go with the title. Now, the title, what the title does, this tag is basically instructing the web browser to give a string identifier to the web page that we're defining that will most likely show up is on the UI of the browser on the top of the page where the tab is. So in this case, the title is Introduction to HTML with a logo. We'll see what that logo comes from later on, and title. So if I change this document to be test, for example, right? I change it. This is not a live server, guys, so you're gonna need to refresh to see actually anything happen. So you refresh, and you can see a test has changed as the title of the web page. So yeah, not to go into too much detail. There's a lot of tags that can go into the add paragraph. There we go. You guys saw the meta before, so if I come back to the meta tags, they define pretty much context information, like the char set that you're using. In our case, is UTF-8 is the char set. This one defines the content, optimized for some browser, specify what browser is the web page is optimized for. You can see sometimes or this application is not supported by your browser because some of the browser are a little bit I don't want to say old, but I will say that I will use the word deprecated, so they don't support maybe some of the behavior that you actually add in your HTML or CSS. And the meta defines the viewport and defines the width of the web page, the information about basically the scale of the app and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is nice. I'll call it tutorial web page, right? Because we want to keep it very, very simple for this video. My objective is to show you guys the main let's say tags. So tags that you will see most of the times. I will go through them. There are a lot of tags, of course, so this video could basically take an eternity to do, but I would like to be very practical and teach you guys about the most tags you will see more often in web pages, in implementation, in tutorial if you're running on tutorials. So let's go to the body or our page. I would like to give a title to our page, right? But not this title. I would like to actually like show a title of the page somewhere in the screen that says, well, this is this is a tutorial page. So what we're going to do that, we're going to use the first tag, which is age. Age stands for header. Header as for text, let's say text on top of the page. For header, we're going to choose something like this is the main title with an exclamation mark. Remember, you always need to refresh. There are services that allow you to make a server, but I didn't want to complicate this tutorial too much. I understand this is going to be for absolute beginners, so you don't need to have any prior knowledge to follow through. So yeah, I would like to keep it as simple as possible. So this is the main title. As you see, it showed up right here with a little bit of a style. You can say, you can see how it's bold, and you can see how the font size is pretty big if you compare it to any other text that you see in this page. You can see how the font size is already big. Why is that? Why the browser knows all this stuff by its own? Well, because this is an H1 tag. H1 should be the principal, the main title on your web page, and so the browser gives it a style interpretation on its own. This is very, very good, by the way, because we don't need to actually attach a CSS file. We're gonna have CSS in the next videos, I would say, definitely, but I would like to keep it bare, very, very bare-handed, as much as this page won't look too good, but yeah, this is definitely a starting point. So H1 is the main title. As you can probably, guys, you can imagine, the 1 stands for the importance. How important this is. 1 is the most important, and 2 is a little bit less important, and so on down the basically the scale of the numbers. We can get all the way down to age 5 if I'm not mistaken, but you're most likely not gonna see age 5, age 6 tag. They're not very, very in vogue, but absolutely you will see an age 2 tag. So this is the main title. This is the subtitle for the main section. So I would like to keep this structure for the tutorial, and I would like to write a little bit of content about what we're doing today. So the H2, as you can see, it's a little bit smaller, following what I just said before. Is just like the browser knows H2 is a little bit less important, so a little bit of a smaller font size, that way you find it here, and yeah, we can keep going that way. So we have H3, H4, and they will always get progressively smaller, up to a point here, pretty much indistinguishable from the normal text. But now let's say that with our headers we're looking good, and we would like to add some content to our page. We may be instructed to make a web page with very, very basic styling, so this is more than enough, but we want the content. The content is what matters. So we need to write through the document. To add actual content, explaining, for example, what we're doing with this tutorial, we can use the paragraph tag. So the paragraph tag is a simple P, and within this bracket you can write your content. You can say, this is a subtitle for the main section, this is the main title. We can say something like, okay, for example, let's give it a purpose to this page. So let's say HTML basic tutorial, HTML from scratch tutorial, yep. And what we're going to do here is going to be theory or introduction, let's say, okay, introduction, yep. And in the P we can write some content. We can actually write, well, HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and you can go like that. Sorry guys, I have the microphone standing in the way, but yeah, we can get this. Yeah, so basically this is a little bit of content. Then we can add some lorem ipsum text just to complete here, but yeah. So what the result is? The result is actually a little bit of text. Now this is starting to look like a very, very basic web page. So we know we don't have much content, we don't have much styling, but yeah, this is what we wanna tell the user. In this case, we wanna tell you guys this is an HTML from scratch tutorial. This is the introduction chapter, so we can use the H2 tags for distinguishing the chapters, and the P tags to just write out some text. Now, One thing that you notice about HTML is how easy it is. Like this literally will work in any computer. You guys don't need libraries, you don't need software, you don't need particular anything else than your browser and a text editor. Again, I strongly recommend VS Code or Sublime Text or one of the code-related text editor. But as that being said, we got some content down, and everything works pretty much out of the box. Now, I like to keep everything kind of parsed in a nice way. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take the classic structure of the web page. We're gonna, of course, say H1. There is just H1. Most of the times, H1 you want that to be the only one, of course, at least for that page. We're gonna create a second chapter. Let's say for example, introduction and the main tags. So the main tags, because this wants to be a very practical video. We just wanna go through the main tags. Now, HTML, has a lot of tags, but let's say the most used are. Now we can say, for example, what I showed you guys, like the body tag. The body tag, it confuses for the actual tag. Body tag, the H1 tag. Let's just keep it. Smart case H1, the H2 tag, and the P tag, and the div tag to create the chapters. Right, so as you can see, the formatting that we applied here is not actually happening. That's kind of a bummer, because we would like that to be a separated list. Now, for the list, we do have the lead tag. If you go on VS Code, it's crazy good, because it also show you, okay, what does this tag actually do, and the list basically creates you a list of things. So you need to kind of incorporate everything. Let's see if something changes. Well, it starts to be a point, right? So it starts to, you can see, guys, how it shows up the actual point. Now, we would like everything to go through as different points. So we will need to use different tag. The U element represents the span of text, for example, but it's not exactly what we need here. The UL element represents a list of items where the order of the items is not important. So what happens if you encapsulate this in here? Yep. You can see how basically it creates a nice item for us. You can do the same thing for H2, and so on and so forth. Copy pasting in HTML is very useful for a structure. It just allows you to go pretty fast in actually making the thing. And this is absolutely fantastic. Oh, now, I just think we inverted the tags, right? So if we go UL right here, and we go right here, this is most likely, yep. This is the final result. It was basically inverted. So UL defines you the list, so you're declaring there is going to be a list here, as you can see from what VS Code says, and LE actually defines list element item. So we're just talking about one item. In this way, we created a nice list, and it's pretty much listed as we expected. We left out the body tag. That's not very good. And so everything has the same structure, just change the content. So now we understood, okay, now we can make a little bit more complex content interpreting the list, for example, list of items. That's very, very good. So the next thing what we can do is what I like you to notice here in this particular case is how the P tag contains both standard text, you call it plain text, and structure content, so HTML content. So from this point on, it's pretty clear that basically HTML tags can contain two things. I would say maybe more than two things, but let's keep it simple here. Let's say two things. And first thing is actual content. So just tag, and you write in some stuff, you type in some stuff, whatever you do, just text content. We're going to call it plain text, plain content, and other HTML content. So you can basically nest to an infinite level content in HTML. Now this is very good. Why? Because it allows you to basically structure your page to have everything contained. Now, this P paragraph still represents the whole paragraph that defines the content of the chapter 2, the main tags. So that is very useful because you can just give a structure and an organization to your own page through the content. Now, here I would suggest to keep it tabbed this way, but my VS Code don't like that way. He just likes to put everything down. But yeah, tab and code organization is very important. If you use tool like VS Code paired with technologies like ESLint on the main settings, you may need to tweak something because he will try to auto organize the code for you. You may not like that implementation, but yeah, whatever. That's not relevant, I would say, for the content of this video. But yeah, the main tag. So another chapter has been done. Our web page is definitely taking a form. So we can see now we have a title, we have a subtitle that defines chapter. The introduction explains briefly what HTML stands for with some dummy text. The main tags define the main use tags in HTML, so the most important tags. As a second chapter, you would argue, well, Leo, is everything in the P tag that may be a little bit disorganized because now it's not clear what goes and what not goes inside the tag. So for the structural organization, basically HTML came up with a dedicated tag. A dedicated tag that is called the div tag. The div tag, basically what it does, it doesn't do anything special. It doesn't create content, doesn't create anything to prove that I can add as a div without any content within. And if I refresh, you notice nothing has changed, nothing has been added. So what's the point of the div tag? As you can see, VS Code still comes in our help here explaining what the div tag does. But basically, it's just a chapter tag. Now, this means that defines a chapter, or more like a chapter. I will describe this as a section that doesn't necessarily need to be a chapter, but more of a section of the HTML page. So you will see many nested div tags in your future. Maybe a little bit less. I will explain you in a while why. But yeah, the div tag allows you to structure your own page, defining section that can contain custom styling, for example. Children can contain language, it contains titles. You can put a lot of things in a div. You can pretty much put anything in the div actually. So we could actually put the whole. If we would like to organize this page in a little bit of a different fashion, we could put everything that we wrote in chapter 2 inside a div, everything in chapter 1 inside a div, and we could structure our page that way. That may be useful for a couple of reasons. Let's imagine I would like to put a line that basically distinguish the chapter from each other. We could put that line in the styling of the div, and if we use the same div all over again, it will basically always show us that line that basically breaks the chapter apart. So yeah, that's the main point of the div. I think it's very important for you to know. And yeah, we're going to structure some content using the div. So basically, we can have, for example, the ID tag to identify that we're talking about chapter 1. ID for now is not that useful right now. I understand it's not that useful. We're just talking about HTML. We'll see why IDs are useful in next videos. But yeah, we could just give an identifier to the div, and we could say, well, okay, for example, right here, this may be div 1 with ID equal to 1. And we're gonna close this to the end right here. So yep, as you can see, VS Code started to actually organizing a little bit of code for me. It just tabbed the content. I would recommend you guys do the same, keeping the code structured and organized. Also in this in these aspects, talking about spaces, tabs, and all that really helps the reader go through the code, and it helps yourself understanding a little bit better the structure of the HTML page. So yeah, we added 2 divs. What changed? Nothing, again, because divs are more of a semantic tag than anything, but in some cases you actually need divs to group up the elements to add styling. For example, let's suppose I would like to put all the content. I would like to put these two content right here, not one after the other in a vertical order, but let's assume I would like to put them in a horizontal order. So what I would do, and let's say that I want to do that behavior just for these first two chapters, right? So if I add a third chapter, I would like the third chapter to come to be just under as expected this other chapter. So let's see, yeah, third chapter is right here. The main tags, we can call this an actual example, a practical example, right? So these are first our third chapter. So the practical example here of div usage is actually using the div to group up these first two chapters. So as you remember, I told you you can put whatever you want in a div. It doesn't matter how much levels of chiller you have inside div. So you can nest div going forward and forward and forward this way. What changed? Absolutely nothing again. But what could change right now is that I could put a styling in this particular div. We're gonna achieve styling probably through class names a lot in the next videos when talking about CSS. But let's assume I pass a class to this div and I call it row. The class row is normally defined to. Of course, we need to specify what row is. So we'll need to create a file where we say to the browser what row actually is in terms of styling. But basically, it allows you to put stuff in a row if you create the specific class that does that for you. And what will change here in the div usage is that actually the content of div 1 and div 2, the two chapter, will be one next to each other. So that is very, very important because now we have a reason why we want to use div. For example, to achieve a particular styling is one of the examples. So not only organizing the code, giving IDs, but also achieving a particular styling is very important to use divs. So guys, that being said, the third part of the tutorial of the, let's say, of this web page and the tutorial as well is I would like to go through. Oops, wrong button. I would like to go through some other tags. Now, I already spoiled to you, there are a lot of tags. We're not going through all of them, but I would like to go through the main tags. Some tags that are really simple to me, to my definition, and that I see used not very often because most likely they're not part of in the, let's say, beginner's tutorial, are semantic tags. Now, semantic tags are tags that don't actually do anything, a little bit like the div tag, right? So they're just exactly, they have the exact same behavior of div. They can be used to organize the code a little bit better. They can be used to achieve styling if you want to, if you give particular classes or styling to them. But mainly they're used to structure and organize the code. And they're very important to know because they all have some semantic to them. Now, let's say, for example, that we decide, well, this title is an H1, is on top of the page, but I would like to define, most likely in the future, other content to go in the top of the page. Now, HTML come up with a simple tag, the other tag that represents actually the part that is usually on top of the page, the part that represents the main content of the page. Now, the other element, as you can see, VS Code, again, with a strong explanation. The other element represent introductory content, its nearest successor sections content, or sectioning root element. So this is what it's used for. So basically, yeah, we're trying to use this as for declaring that the header of the page is this part on top. If I refresh, what changed? Nothing, because this is a semantic element. But yeah, it's used to, because maybe in the future I decide, yeah, this in the header there is not only this H1, but there is also AP, and I want to say a beginner introduction, right? So it's very less important because it is not even a title, but I want to specify that that this is still part of the header. Maybe we can use an H3, more appropriate H3 tag. Yeah. So in our case, this is the header. This is the header of our web page, and whatever comes next is basically the content of the page. There is indeed a tag that defines also the main content of the page, and it's called main. The main element represents the main content of the body document or our application. So when we talk about the main, we would like to include everything that is the main content. So the actual body of the page, like the actual implementation of the page. So these semantics tag, they're pretty new. I think they come with HTML5, and their usage is being, let's say, increased during the last years, which is great because these tags not only allow you to better read through a page, but they also allow you to increase your SEO points as much as you use them in a correct way. The SEO score that Google uses to classify your page on top of their results will increase, and that's very good for your web page in all the context that you're going to create a web page for. So yeah, we're talking about semantics tags. Again, there are many semantic tags. There is also a description tag, if I'm not, details tag that discloses the widget from the user, can obtain additional information or controls. So we have many semantic tags, but the most important, I would say, are definitely header, defines the header of the page, main, define the main content of the page, and we found the usage for them in this very simple example. So you can say that pretty much every page could use, I think, both of these tags, honestly. I don't see why there shouldn't be a case where that is not the case. And yeah, moving forward, now we describe the semantic tags. So great, we know semantics tags, but in the past, someone instead of this semantics tag would have just used a div. So maybe they wanted to achieve some styling and they wanted to give a whole background for the content. What they would have done in the past is just use divs. I was the first one doing this when I was a junior coming up in the first implementation. But yeah, using semantic tags is definitely better, and you can of course give attributes, EDs, classes. Like you can do whatever with this tag. So you can put a style. You can do whatever you want, just like normal divs. That is very good. Other definitely interesting content. A practical example. Let's say that in this link in this section we would like to link to some existing example of nice web pages. What we can do is, well, we can write our paragraph as always. This is an actual list of web pages made with simple basic HTML. Right, so we can keep the hourly structure, that is still valid, but what we're going to change, we're going to explore the A tag. So the A tag is basically allows you to link to a resource, whether that is it's called hyperlink in this definition, but yeah, this resource can be another link. This can be a link within the structure. You can link to an image. You can link to whatever different content. You just need the content just needs to have an attached link to be let's say pinged and accessed through. So you have the H tag. In the H tag, you can put of course a title, for example, web page one, and in the A you can specify the link to the resource with the href attribute. So the href attributes allows you to contain to include the link of the resource that you're interested in calling. So in our case, let's use WT School to just gain access to a small website. I would like to go through, yeah, this one. This guy looks cool. Yeah, this is, for example, a nice simple web page. You can link to this. You can just include the link here, and yeah, this is as simple as you need to. So again, you can see specific styling has been applied here, different color, underlying. The browser is doing all that for us. Of course, you can argue this is not incredibly good looking. We're gonna explore the good looking part in the CSS tutorial and introduction, but yeah, web page. So you can click through. if you click through, yeah, it replaces your page. So the page that I just was in has been totally swapped out to the page where the destination is. Now, if we come back, we say, well, we don't like the behavior. We would like the user to stay in our page, but to be linked to a new page. So what we can do is we can add a target in VS Code, still giving us a great help here, defining us some of the options that we have. One of the most used is the blank. Blank stands for the target of this link should actually go in a blank tab. If you don't have blank tab open, most likely the browser will be able to open up that for you. So if I now refresh and I click, oops, I'm not in the link anymore. Yeah, if I now refresh, yeah, no, I just a little bit confused. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it's very confused about where this file is. Let me just reopen it. Yep. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, guys. Yeah, if you click through now, it opens the same page, but in another tab. As you can see, I still have my practical page here, but the page that I linked to was open in a totally new tab. That's very good. That's very good for user behavior and for main usage as well. Now you can put as many tags as you want. Just notice how the color has changed. Now I can compare the colors. I just need to add another web page. Let's call it web page 2. And if I now refresh, you can see. Sorry, this page has been clicked, right? So if I go to another link that has not been clicked so far, let's see. Oops. Yeah, you can see a difference in color. What this means is that the browser knows if your link has been clicked by the user, has been already clicked, and it gives a different color to interpret that. You can, of course, tweak that implementation. Of course, talking about CSS, but we're going to that in another video. But yeah, web page 2, you can see has a different color because the link has not been clicked so far. So yeah, this is another one of those let's say item that you will see a lot, tags that you will see a lot in implementation, the A tag, linking to a resource. Now, this has been pretty basic so far. So what I like to do here is say, well, I provided you a list of pages, but I also say, here is a screenshot, yep, of one of the list of pages above, right? Okay, so what I'm promising to the user is, if you don't want to click through, I will also drop you an image here. So to drop an image, we're going to use the EMG link. So with the EMG, what you can do is you can link to an existing page. How do you do that? Through the src attribute. So you can link to an existing resource. So I can, for example, add an image here, and I can just link, but that always requires me to go through, fetch the image, and then put it in the folder, and all this kind of stuff. What I can also do is the src page works with local resources, but works also with remote resources. So what I can do is go on a website like Unsplash, where it's full of basically free to use images, and we can go in current cities right here. Sorry again, guys, this is in Italian, but the content is not important, and we can just link an image, right? So we can find this. If you go through, they have a nice UI to achieve what I'm about to do. They have a link. The link will actually, I'm not sure if the link will link the web page or the content, but basically what you can do is, if you can right click on the image, you can always find this kind of voice, copy the address of the image, or you can go through the inspection and find it for yourself. But it's very easy. Once you get the address of the image, you go in your implementation, you copy paste that, and there you have it. So if I refresh, yep, there is the image. Now the image is, you can argue, is pretty big. Now we can fix this without bothering CSS. Why? Because we have, in this case, for this particular for this particular implementation, we do have width and height attribute to the image, because it's a case that occurs a lot of the times, and basically, yeah, we can include all of that in the same tag. Now you can see in this case how much space it occupies to actually use the attributes and the source. One thing I usually like to do when I'm in this situation is to format things like this. Keep it very clean and simple, but yeah, my VS Code is totally not agreeing with that. But yeah, formatting is very challenging, but yeah, this is good enough. I will say this is good enough. One thing I don't particularly like is that this image is in the same line of the text, the text that is actually explaining it. Now I would like to go on a different, and you can argue we are within a p tag. This p tag is starting to become a little bit crowded. So what I want to do is I want to actually remove this, and I want to actually put this inside of a div tag. Like for example, let's say, yeah, let's close my p tag. Sorry, I forgot to close it. Let's close the p tag, and let's create a dedicated section. Let's create a dedicated div with this kind of content. Now, I wouldn't advise to put directly the content of a text right directly inside the div, but I would like to keep text inside the p and other resources inside their own tags. So this is a pretty nice structure. Div, closing and opening the div. Within you put a paragraph, within you put image, and you can have a better structure. That also fixes our problem. So layout of HTML, sometimes supposed to put stuff in the same line, some other times supposed to put the stuff in column in vertical order. So you can tweak all of that with CSS, but yeah, following the practice of what already is built in HTML is of course a good implementation. Now this is a nice example. So we have added an image, but yeah, this is not quite what we promised, is it? Like we say that we wanted to show the user this specific image. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to screenshot this image so we can actually practically do something to deliver to the user what we promised. So a little bit of a sneak peek of the web page, just because I want to show you guys also the main example of putting all of this inside the HTML content as a static content. So one bad thing about this implementation is that if I now remove my internet connection, this image won't be able to be fetched. But one thing I can actually do is say, well, now I have an image. We can say html.png. Let's simplify here. And we can see, well, the asset is this far away image in the web. It's a remote image, but we can also add an image that is not in the web and it's static to this project, and we can say, well, it's in this folder and it's here. If your editor is as cool as VS Code, you can get to the path easy, and yeah, there you have it, HTML page, and there we have our image, guys. So this is very simple. This is very simple, and yeah, basically we embedded two images. One is from remote and the other one is from a local asset and resource. Now this is starting to look like a little bit of a more structured web page, right? Because we have everything that basically we need. We have some HTML for the title, but we also grouped up title and subtitle in a header. So this is our semantically header section. Now this is a chapter section. This is all part of the main section, and we have basically 3 chapters divided by h2 tags. And yeah, title and text. Here we have a list. Here we have another list. Always keeping the title there to resemble the structure of the page. And basically, guys, we faced some of the content here. Now this video is getting definitely longer, so I don't wanna stress myself. I'm just trying to stress this video too much and wanna make a 10-hour video. But yeah, this is I think this is enough content to cover basic understanding. I think what I listed here is the tags that I basically see every day in my day web development job, web engineering job. So Those are these are the main common one. Now the real tags that I see a little bit more rarely, and to that I like to link you to the HTML introduction. But yeah, you can see they go through some of the content that we faced. They go through the headings, they go through the paragraph. Styling, I would like to go through styling, but I don't like in-file HTML style. I think it's always best to use CSS for the styling. But now, yeah, HTML formatting. This is interesting. How you achieve all of this HTML quotation to use this tags. But basically, guys, all of this is achievable that I showed you, and with a little bit of styling attached. If you use the semantic tags for what they are for, you're doing a very, very nice and better job. That if not, yeah, this is pretty much it. Now, links we saw, images we saw, tables, man. See, tables is interesting, definitely. The example here is great. They just, well, it's a little bit, yeah, table. It's a very simple example, but it's basically the last thing I would like to go through is show you an example of a table. Let's suppose that we have a chapter 4. Again, copy and pasting most of the code here, but yeah, let's suppose that we have a chapter 4, and in the chapter 4 we talked about the tags, we talk about the semantics, the table tags. So we're going to do a little bit of a nested thing. In the table tag, we want to actually still implement a little bit of a description. We want to use a div for this. Yeah, I reckon this is a good thing, a good implementation. You use the div. You use the div to provide a AP to still say this table is an explanation of the tags used to create a table, right? So basically, the tags to use table is very easy. It's table element represent data with more than one dimension. So table, we have the T head. So we have T head that defines the header section of the table. We have the T age that defines a T element, T head element. Sorry. Let's say we can call it tag, and then we can say one is the tag, one is semantic. So we explain what each tag does. T head, and in the T body we face that structure by saying TD. Saying TD should be the element, but we want a TR before because it represents a row. So seeing a row that says TD, well, I've got an element, and that element is the table tag. The table tag is defined, and when we use the same that always TD, and we say table tag encapsulates the whole table. The whole table, and we basically do the same. If we go through here and we say right, we can see our table structure is very easy table, and yeah, it's a little bit off as for implementation, but the tag needs to go to the center, and the content is aligned to the left, so it's a little bit confusing. But if I create another line, let me see. If I create another line and I say, well, the T head, the T head tag defines the header of the table. Yep. Oh, I messed up. Yep. Yeah, if we refresh, we can see, yeah, another line of the table. The table stays the same. The header stay fixed here. You can see a little bit of the structure. If I go through it, I kind of give it a background color. You can see how the table is organized. You can now, we'll see styling in the next videos. But yeah, this defines a little bit of a table. So a table that explains the tags of a table. and you can go through it following the structure. You can add the rows and rows and rows until you completed your semantic of all the data you want to present with the table. It's very important that everything is still staying close within the table, and it's also very important to use the t-head to define the head of the table and the t-body to define the body. And yeah, just to close this video, guys, I would like to go through the meaning of these two tags here. As I told you, the add tags is a little bit of a particular tag. This tag gets shipped before the whole page, so they define metadata information about the page. One metadata information that is very clear to me is the title. Very simple, is what you see on the top of the tab of your browser. And the body basically encloses the whole structure of the whatever is visible in this whole area right here. So the main browser area, all the content that goes from here to here is actually defined by whatever it's inside the body. So that basically represents how a web page is defined. HTML lang, and it specifies that we're talking about HTML here as a content, and the language and of course stands for English. And doc type HTML again defines that the document type that we're specifying is an HTML document. All right, guys, I think this is everything for this tutorial. Guys, please let me know in the comments if you think this kind of content helps you through the stuff. I try to always give very practical way to web development, a practical road to web development. I am, of course, I went to university. I have a graduation in computer science at the University of Milan, but YouTube always helped me to go through the content, and I was able to pick up a career and start my own studio thanks to the content I learned on YouTube. So I want to provide that same semantic, and I want to go through everything by specifying to you the theory, where to study, what to study, to what level, and then going through the practical things together in the video, showing you guys how stuff is done. But yeah, guys, I would say that's everything. I will see you in the next videos. If you like this format, please let me know. ASMR videos will keep coming. I'm working on new ideas, but yeah, this is one side of the videos that I would like to bring tutorials and educational content for, at least for web development, and also for mobile development in the future. We'll see. But yeah, for the things that basically I do at work every day. So yeah, guys, that's everything. Let me know if you find this interesting. Yeah, see you guys in the next videos. Bye.